On to the afternoon's runs now, and over the next 3 stages there would be plenty of drama, first of which was the retirement of current leader Richard Kershaw. With the brakes on the car failing on a fast left-hand bend, the car was thrown off the road and rolled down into a ditch. Both crew members okay, but the car would need some work before it returns to the stages. This means that it's all change at the top, but instead of second place Steve Hyatt taking the top spot, it will be Martin Gold who jumps into first place, getting ahead of Hyatt on run 4 to open up a 35-second lead at the end of day 1. With the problems Martin suffered last season, he wasn't used to this position, and the pressure would now be on to keep it steady and maintain his lead through day 2. So having now dropped behind Gold, it would be up to Steve Hyatt to try and put the pressure on him for day 2. With a further 4 runs planned for Sunday, it wouldn't leave a lot of miles to make up the time, but it was sure to give some close battles at the head of the field. Opting to take a bit more of a steady approach to avoid punctures seemed to be working for Charlie Evans and Tom Aggis. Not the fastest they could have gone, but with no punctures they didn't lose time like they had on the morning stages. A good compromise in these tricky conditions, and one that sees them in 3rd overall at the end of day 1. Dan Lofthouse starts his 4th run in 4th place, and Kershaw's retirement sees him and Johnny Coonja move up to 3rd. Sadly, problems on run 6 mean they aren't able to hold on to the place going into the overnight halt, and slip back down to 5th. This also means that Carl Duffield jumps ahead of Lofthouse to end the day in 4th. A good result for him, and a great way to end the first day's racing and keep him motivated for a good run on day 2. Punctures seem to be a major part of this event, and next on the list for a puncture was Justin Birchall with Ross Butterworth in the M206 Evo, losing time on run 4 and stopping any real advance on the places ahead of them, for now at least, as they will be sure to make a further push on day 2 to see if they can make any closer to a podium finish. Ending the day then in 6th place, 18 seconds behind Lofthouse. 7th place now for Carl Gudgeon and Peter King. Some good times had helped them hold a good position going into day 2. But the pair had lost around a minute stuck in a hole on the final run, which had formed during the course of the weekend, possibly costing them 6th place, but too hard to tell at this stage. Another crew missing from the top 10 on run 4 was a Metro 6R4 of Ivan Dudley and David Rendell, stopping in the stage when they ripped the rear wheel off the car. Martin Cox was doing a good job of climbing the results and was now well inside the top 10, lying in 8th at the end of day 1, but he was over a minute behind Gudgeon at this stage. The gap to 9th place wasn't as comfortable, with Bob Seaman and Neil Wakefield also creeping into the top 10, and only 9 seconds behind Cox at the end of the day. Having been at the Chatsworth Rally Show before this event, Bob had managed to get some extra miles in the car, and this was showing in his times, as his confidence in the course grew. Rounding off the top 10 at the end of the day was the clubman entry of Mark Francis in the Milner R4. A massive 7 minutes now separated the top 10 after 6 runs. Missing from the results after stage 4 was Alan Wilkinson, the car passing our camera not sounding quite right before the engine gave way a few hundred yards at the stage. After putting out a small fire, it was clear they would be going no further, and the car was pushed out of the way to clear the queue of following competitors. Missing from the top 10, but still going, were Steve Smith and John Griffiths. Slightly off the pace in the afternoon, the pair dropped down to 11th place, 5 seconds off 10th. On to day 2 now, and a chance to take a look at how the overall results were decided, as well as catch up with a few of the crews. Retiring after only one run on Sunday was the Tomcat 100 of Tom and Richard Hipkiss, pulling off close to the end of the stage as the tyre parts company with the car. Retiring on the following stage was Gordon Monaghan in his RS200 styled car. The track would end braking towards the end of the stage, forcing him to retire, having been up as high as 8th during the event. And also retiring when a puncture caused damage to the rear of their car were Phil Ibbotson and Will Jefferson, after lying in 14th place. Finishing in 30th place was South African Bilal Adams in the ex-M Sport Freelander, a couple of maximum times not helping his overall time. '29th overall goes to Adrian Eason Bassett in the Range Rover, the only finisher in Class B. Mike Moran hadn't had the best of weekends on paper, finishing 28th overall, but it was a different story when we caught up with him at the end of the day's racing.
Mike, still a new car for you? How's it going?
Well, I've had those new car problems. Today I've had no boost pressure on one of the turbochargers, but it's sort of lots of power, 300 brake horsepower instantly, then shutting off. So I've had a exciting weekend, really. The car has gone well, good track, bit rough. You know, you'll find a few people have been complaining about the rocks. Well, that's the problem with off-roading. It's a little bit rough. If they want smooth tracks, they should do bloody track day, shouldn't they? Yeah? No, it's been a good weekend, good course. Yeah, enjoyed the midges. You know, Scotland's a great place to go off-roading in.